Today I'm reacting to your Friday Night SmackDown Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. Now, if you are looking for our full review of this particular episode of Friday Night SmackDown with footage so that you can see exactly what it is that we're talking about, that's already up and available on patreon.com/SantiZab. So if you're interested, check the description or check the link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's see what you sent in. I'm bummed Chelsea Green wasn't in her Queen of the Ring match. I wanted her to win. I wasn't ever expecting her to win, but I would have liked the idea of her to win, and I would have certainly loved to see her in the match. I mean, she turned winning the United States Championship into an entire character overhaul with the Pledge Your Allegiance to Chelsea Green, having the presidential service and the secret Hervis. That stuff was fantastic. Now imagine Chelsea Green being Queen of the Ring, what she could do with that if she was able to do that with the United States Championship. That alone would have been worth the price of admission of seeing Chelsea Green win the Queen of the Ring tournament. The table spot Cody did felt forced. You can tell that TKO is capitalizing on the table spots that United States fans always chant for. We're about to witness more table spots for the sake of this sponsorship, and that's going to make table spots not feel special anymore. So I genuinely do not mind the snap into a Slim Jim table. I think it's a funny thing to say. Whatever. If you want the Slim Jim logo on a table, it literally does not impact me. But I did say that this was going to be a slippery slope, that we were going to have a mandatory amount of snap into a Slim Jim table spots per week so that WWE can meet their quota for their sponsor. And yes, this particular table spot absolutely did feel shoehorned into this match. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more of it. We already saw it with the Fireball ladder, where the guy who ultimately ended up winning the briefcase couldn't win until the actual sponsored base ladder, the Fireball ladder, was set up in the ring for him. And we're probably going to get more things. Have you guys noticed that they're breaking the barricade every single week? I wouldn't be surprised if that barricade probably has a sponsor at some point within the next year. Somebody in my chat made the hilarious joke that the company Skillshare should sponsor the chairs so that it becomes the Skill Chair. But yeah, expect way more table spots, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have more inanimate objects getting sponsorships over the next year and a bit with TKO. Anywhere and everywhere that they can make money, they will try to get every single cent out of it. That is the era that we're in. It is not the Paul Levesque era, it is the TKO era, and the TKO era is about cents, it is about decimals, it is about the bottom line, and it's about making the investors happy. The fact that Cena and Punk's feud is their roles reversed 14 years later has blown over so many people's heads. I also may be in the minority who thinks that within just 2 segments, this feud has got me absolutely stoked for this match. It's funny because in his promo, CM Punk literally said, "Here I am, CM Punk, once again to make your championship run interesting," like he would do back in 2011 and like he's doing once again. I had no problem with the John Cena retirement tour. I did feel like it was lacking in some areas, but there was a lot of people that were not happy with John Cena's retirement tour and the things that he was doing and how he was being booked. But I think that this might be the moment that gets people excited for the retirement tour, where maybe this is where it really begins. But yeah, I've been calling for this particular feud with the roles reversed for the last month now because I really felt like this should have been the feud going into Money in the Bank. But of course, with the weird scheduling with Saturday night's main event and the shoehorning of this tag match, it prevented this from actually getting some time to build into Money in the Bank. So we just got it the following PLE. But this, based on the storyline that they're telling, not because I don't want it to be in Saudi Arabia, because of the storyline that they're telling, should have been at Money in the Bank 14 years after their classic at Money in the Bank that made this feud legendary in the first place. That's not to say that Night of Champions doesn't have historical meaning between CM Punk and John Cena. That was the place of one of their championship matches, but it's not the Money in the Bank match. That's the one everyone remembers. If you weren't around then, or maybe you're a newer wrestling fan, what Harry is saying here about roles reverse is that back in 2011, CM Punk wanted to win the championship so that he could quit the WWE and leave with the championship, and John Cena was the hero trying to prevent that from happening. And and now we have CM Punk trying to prevent John Cena, the bad guy, from walking out of the WWE with the championship. Roles reverse. It's honestly awesome. Tell me when I'm lying. This is going to be the best work of Solo's main roster run. Solo versus Jacob is going to be so good. I don't know. I do think that there was a lot to like from his run as the tribal chief, but now that we can remove the weight of the main event and the Ulafala and the when will Roman Reigns come back type of questions that always sort of loomed over Solo Sikoa's initial main event run, I think that this could be a lot more refreshing and a lot less shackling for him. I think that the promos between these guys are going to be excellent. I think that the storyline is going to be really good. I wouldn't be surprised if we get shock surprises and appearances. The one that immediately comes to mind is the Tongans maybe coming back to help Jacob or Solo. We have Hikuleo, who just debuted on main event for some reason. So there's still shocks and surprises that can still be inserted into this narrative as well. And then, of course, there's the aura machine that is JC Mateo. Just look at him in the background, looking like one of the thumbs from Spy Kids with goggles. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton did not need those wins. Randy is clearly not going to win. Cody can easily have his rematch with Cena without a King of the Ring win. So I agree with your last statement here. Cody Rhodes should not be having to go through King of the Ring to get a rematch against John Cena. This is a guy that had a year-plus long run and lost it at WrestleMania and then pins the WWE champion. How is that not good enough to get yourself a rematch clause? But hey, whatever. Welcome to the world of the WWE. You got to make the baby face earn it, and that's where they're trying to put Cody Rhodes, and honestly, I would not be surprised if he wins the whole thing. But I do disagree when you say that Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton didn't need those wins. They might not need the King of the Ring win, but making the King of the Ring feel a lot more special, having guys like Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in the mix in the semifinals definitely makes that win for whoever wins it feel a lot more special. So I'm okay with them winning the initial Fatal 4-Way matches. It just makes the semifinals a lot more star-studded, especially the Cody Rhodes one. Did you really want Damian Andrade or Shinsuke in the semifinals? I don't know. I mean, it would have been weird, different, but Cody Rhodes was the right play there. Why are they debuting Hikuleo on main event as if nothing happened? He should have been featured in Jacob Fatu's storyline. Without that, I don't see how he fits in. So maybe they're just getting him some reps, because I genuinely believe that the only place that he fits in is the Jacob Fatu Solo Sikoa storyline. If they're not interjecting him in that, I don't know what they plan on doing with Hikuleo. I do think that they're going to be inserting him into that because he's out there dressed like the Tongans minus the T. He's got the exact same ring gear as them. My headcanon had Hikuleo coming in to join in with JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa to try and topple Jacob Fatu, and then the Tongans, Tamatonga and Tongaloa, would come back and unite with Jacob Fatu instead, and we get a little war of factions there. But genuinely, Hikuleo is just not going to do anything on the main roster unless it's in that storyline. Like, I just don't see it. Maybe something down in NXT, that could be a route, like a more traditional route, working through the FARB system and eventually earning a name for yourself and making it on your own on the main roster without the being part of the bloodline. But I don't see that being the case with Hikuleo, considering they're not using him on Evolve. They're not using him on NXT. They're showing him to main roster fans. So expect him to be in the Jacob Fatu Solo Sikoa storyline. Otherwise, I think his career's already doomed if they don't put him in there. Given the limited dates John Cena will appear on WWE programming, having a non-title singles match versus Ron the Truth Killings on SmackDown is an interesting decision. I think interesting is a way to put it. I don't think that this feud needs the title. I feel like putting the title on the line really just spoils that John Cena is going to win this. But if the title is not on the line, things can happen that could potentially make John Cena lose to R-Truth here. Especially when you see what happened on that episode of SmackDown and you notice how many people just have it out for John Cena. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, of course CM Punk, we have LA Knight looming. Any one of those guys might be able to make their names heard during this match and get Ron Killings the win somehow. And honestly, I feel like that's the play. I think Ron Killings needs to beat Cena, but I don't think that it should be for the WWE Undisputed Championship. So I like the idea of a non-championship match because it actually gives us some things to question, some things to try and predict, as opposed to just assuming that Cena is going to automatically win. Finally, we got a good Charlotte Flair match. I'm also enjoying the developing storyline between Alexa and Charlotte. It felt like Charlotte worked as a babyface for most of that match, so there's a chance that they might might end up forming a tag team. People call me a madman. I said on my live stream that I can see this a mile away, that they are going to put Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss in the tag team division, and they're probably going to become tag team champions. This is just WWE's MO. This is their formula for the dead women's tag team division. Just put two women that you're not doing anything with in the main event, make them have a tag team, and make them go after the tag titles. That's literally what they've always done with these tag titles. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like the idea of like this like completely like polar opposites, they hate each other type of tag team. It's worked for as long as I can remember in the WWE, and I think it would be intriguing for Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. However, it'd be intriguing if there was a division for them to actually compete in, but there isn't. By the way, I love the finish of this match. I thought that this was fantastic. I like that Charlotte was literally like 0.2 seconds away from winning, only for Alexa Bliss to snatch victory away from the jaws of defeat. And I think it's interesting that they're having Charlotte Flair lose like consistently now. I mean, this is not a world that I'm used to. I'm used to a world where Charlotte Flair literally wins everything, but here we are. She's on a bit of an L streak. Call me crazy, but Ron Killing should beat Cena, not Cody. I think it's possible that you could have multiple scenarios. We've already talked about the scenario where Ron Killings actually beats Cena. Maybe that completely crumbles John Cena's psyche, and that's what leads to Cody Rhodes eventually beating him. Maybe Ron Killings cost John Cena the match during his match against Cody Rhodes. So there are a lot of places where you can interject Ron Killings here to be a thorn in John Cena's ass, considering that's already how they're booking him, with Ron Killings just out of nowhere attacking Cena on sight. I'm loving the buildup from CM Punk and John Cena, convincing me that Punk is the answer to Cena turning his back on being a good guy. But having Punk versus Cena in the next PLE is way too soon. All of this should have been building up towards SummerSlam. It should be Cody versus Cena at Night of Champions, since they recently had a tag team match at Money in the Bank. Of course, I agree that John Cena versus CM Punk is a SummerSlam match. Hell, it's a WrestleMania match. I fairly believe that we should have gotten this as a WrestleMania match back in the day, and we never did. But I can just know and tell that TKO wants Cody Rhodes versus John Cena at SummerSlam. They want that to be their headliner, and I don't think that anything is going to stray away from that, not even the prospect of a CM Punk John Cena match. So I've said this before, if it just means that we can get it, like let's make sure that we do it before John Cena retires, or maybe even worse, gets injured during his retirement tour. Obviously, knock on wood so that doesn't happen. I'd rather just make sure that we lock in the match and actually do the plot. Is this too soon? Did this need more runway? Absolutely. It would have benefited from all of those things, but it's just not a situation that we're in. And if we don't have that situation, let's just do the match anyway. Let's not overthink it. Not the biggest fan of how they're using LA Knight at the moment. I'm honestly ready for a title run. I'm not a fan in the sense that they had him lose the Money in the Bank and they had him stuck on the SmackDown mid-card for a really long time where it was seemingly going nowhere. But I don't know how you can watch this episode of Friday Night SmackDown and the previous episode of Monday Night Raw and genuinely say that you don't like where they might be going with LA Knight or how they're using him. This is the first time LA Knight has been a proper stamp member in the main event scene. I know that he had his program with Roman Reigns, but that was different. That was a filler program for a Saudi show that we knew Roman for sure was going to win. But this here, he can actually have a full-fledged developing storyline with Seth Rollins and his faction. He's already having moments and mic time with John Cena, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes all in the same ring together with him. If that doesn't tell you and scream to you that there are plans for this guy, I don't know what does. Caleb, I'm just thinking that maybe you just want LA Knight to be a world champion, and that to you is the way that they would be using him properly. They might still get there, but from everything that I'm seeing, like I'm seeing a guy that WWE wants to use. Frankly, it's the polar opposite of Karrion Kross, where people want Karrion Kross, people want LA Knight, but we're actually getting LA Knight in high-profile matches, in high-profile feuds, interactions with major stars, and Karrion Kross, we're getting nothing. That is somebody that you should be writing in about that you don't like how they're using. I've been enjoying the Cena's retirement tour since the beginning, but this is what has turned all of the gears on. All of the interactions with different people from the roster, the Punk promo, it's all building amazingly, and I'm loving every second of it. It's really good TV. This was the best night night of the John Cena retirement tour. His interactions with all of these guys that hate him, LA Knight, CM Punk, Ron Killings, with Cody Rhodes, with Randy Orton. This to me like demonstrated the ecosystem, the sharks that are surrounding John Cena, that are trying to stop John Cena from walking out with the WWE Championship. I felt like this was the first time that they did a great job at actually showing us what that ecosystem looks like and who is going after John Cena and trying to prevent him from ruining wrestling. I agree with you. I do feel like this is where the gears have been turned on. This is where the retirement tour really gets going. This is where we're going to maybe actually fondly remember this heel run from. And again, I guess it harkens back to what CM Punk said in the promo that I've already mentioned. Look at me, CM Punk, once again making a John Cena championship run relevant. Sick of this Nia and Tiffany feud continuing. Yeah, what's up with that? I thought that we left this feud behind. I thought that it was time for Tiffany to go do something else. Are they really gonna run Tiffany versus Nia at Night of Champions or at Evolution? That is something I'm not interested in. I got my ending of that feud already, and it was a fantastic match, and I really don't think that we need to revisit it. There are so many people that are waiting for an opportunity to go up against the Tiffany Stratton, to have moments with a championship main event caliber person like Tiffany, and going back to Nia Jax just seems like a very safe and very boring option. I don't think that this is going to be something that's going to engage fans, and I don't think that this is going to be something that helps elevate Tiffany Stratton's championship run. I guess the one interesting thing about Nia Jax being in the mix is that it is technically all three of the same people that were involved in Tiffany's cash-in, Nia, Tiffany, and Naomi. Maybe this is how we get the Naomi cash-in to make it as full circle as possible, but I don't really think that we need Nia Jax in this situation. Punk and Truth being seen as nemesis at the same time. It truly feels like 2011 all over again. Yes, it does. And because we have both of these guys going up against John Cena at the same time, like back in 2011, R-Truth beat John Cena in that tables match on that episode of Monday Night Raw. And then what happened immediately after? We had the legendary CM Punk pipe bomb. So maybe on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown, maybe R-Truth, Ron Killings, beats John Cena, puts him through a table, and we get Pipe Bomb 2.0 to really bring back to 2011. I'm not nostalgic for 2011, by the way. It's like the worst year of professional wrestling. I'm nostalgic of like this little bit, the summer of Punk, being replayed once again in the summertime in 2025. I just hope that Kevin Nash and Triple H don't get involved like they did last year for some reason. I'm pissed that Jey Uso is the mystery spot. We want Cross. This is one of those situations where like I hate to say I told you so, but I did tell you so. So many people wrote in over the last couple of shows that it's going to be Cross, that he's going to be the mystery opponent, that he's going to be in the final of the King of the Ring with Sami Zayn, that he's going to go to SummerSlam and go for the World Heavyweight Championship. No, absolutely not. What I kept trying to say is that what evidence has WWE given you that they have an interest in pushing Karrion Kross to the level of King of the Ring? They've shown you absolutely nothing. And I would love to see the Karrion Kross push, but I'm not going to spend time and effort expecting things that are unrealistic when clearly that is not the route that they're going to go. I've had my heart broken enough times in the world of WWE wanting certain people to be pushed and wanting certain outcomes that I don't have the energy to do that anymore. We want Kross. Absolutely, we do. I just don't think we're gonna get him. And if we do get him, you can come back to this video and say, Santi, you're wrong. Good. I want to be wrong about this, but I don't think that I am right now. I'm so confused on what his name is. Is it R-Truth or Ron Killings? I'm so confused. I think they're confused too. You know, sometimes they call him Ron Killings. Sometimes they call him R-Truth. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be doing a split personality thing again. I don't know. Maybe sometimes we get Truth when he's nice and it's Ron Killings when he's all serious and wants some respect on his name. I don't know. But they should just pick one. I think they should just go with Ron Killings. They're obviously trying to get sympathy for Charlotte losing at WrestleMania and her shot at Money in the Bank and Queen of the Ring. There's definitely something up. I do think that that's something up is that now she's going to look for friends, something that she's never really had in the WWE. And I think that friend is ultimately going to be Alexa Bliss. And I think that ultimately is going to lead to a tag team championship run. Again, I don't love that, but it's their blueprint. They've done this since the inception of the women's tag titles in the WWE. But I think you're right. I have a feeling that they actually plan on doing a babyface Charlotte run, even if it is a babyface within a babyface tag team. And one of the ways to do it is to topple the queen, to make them feel humble. humble, make them feel human. And having a Charlotte that traditionally wins everything, now all of a sudden losing everything makes her feel a lot more human. And I do think that's what they're going for. The Wyatt Six being gone for so long has severely damaged the hype around them. The crowd seemed completely disinterested when they won. I also think that their time off made them rusty. I thought that match had a lot of problems. I felt like the communication was not good, and Motor City Machine Guns really had to carry that match. It wasn't awful, but I just feel like when you look at the quality of the SmackDown tag team division, I don't think that Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis were up to par with some of the other otherworldly tag teams that are in that division. Like in terms of an in-ring perspective, I would put Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis literally at the bottom of the SmackDown tag team division that has DIY, the Street Profits, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns. So they're going to need some time to really acclimate to this speed of the tag team division that we've come to know and love. And yeah, I also felt like the crowd was a little bit disinterested in all of this. I'm not ready to raise the alarm and be concerned for the Wyatt Six, because at the very least, they're getting TV time, and that was the actual problem the first time around. But we'll see. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just not going to land again. LA Knight getting to share the limelight with the legends of the business in Cena, Orton, Rhodes may indicate that WWE are testing if he can hang around in the main event picture. Maybe if the Seth program goes well, he can be put into the title scene finally. I think the play here is to send him to Monday Night Raw, especially with Gunther as a champion. I feel like if they play their cards right with LA Knight, this feud with Seth Rollins elevates him. I feel like LA Knight is primed, poised to be the guy to dethrone Gunther. But you're right. If WWE is testing, can he hang with the guys that are at the top of the card? In my opinion, on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown, he proved that he absolutely can. LA Knight looked like $1 million is basically what I'm trying to say. And the pop when his music hit, when Randy, Cody, and Cena are in the ring, it was louder than all of theirs. Them blacking out the screen when Nia Jax flipped off Jade after sending her through Wade Barrett is crazy censorship even for USA Network. Oh man, yeah, the censorship, it's only going to get worse. By the way, at the very least in international Netflix, if you watch some of the older PLEs, like for example, I just recently watched WrestleMania 40, on the Patreon, we watched the 6-way ladder match, okay? There were holy shit chants during numerous times in that match. They've edited with like an AI voice dub over of "this is awesome." That sounds awful. So they're even censoring old shows now. It's insane. Naomi's promo on Tiffany was absolute gold. She is setting the women's division on fire right now with this superior character. They're doing it right, and I am so happy. Every little baby step, they're taking it towards the right direction. I said that step number 1 was going to be a Money in the Bank briefcase win, and they did it. But then it had to be more incremental steps to make her a crazy character, to make her a danger, a threat, not just to cash in, but to the division in general. Make her a threat to be an unhinged champion. They're doing it right. And if they can continue to do it right, I'm going to continue to say this. The ceiling for Naomi right now with this character, with the briefcase, is the top heel in all of WWE when it comes to the women. You've heard me say this ad nauseum before, but I'm going to keep saying it until it really rings true. Naomi as a babyface was always destined to be the 6th most popular babyface. As a heel, she has a chance to be the quintessential heel in women's professional wrestling right now. Having a Naomi segment without the obligatory Jade Cargill run-in was a nice change of pace. Hopefully she doesn't cash in until after she gets a custom briefcase to go with her new gimmick. If the eventual plan is to have her cash in on Jade Cargill, I actually want them to keep her away from Jade Cargill and to keep Jade Cargill away from her until that moment happens. Out of sight, out of mind. Make us forget about their hatred until it finally comes back roaring at full force with a cash in. I agree. I like that Jade Cargill did not interrupt here. I also, even though I don't like fake cash-ins, I like that this was a tease of a fake cash-in, because this was done in a tasteful way where it didn't actually make Naomi look like an idiot like they did so many times with Tiffany Stratton and Damian Priest, where they made them look like brainless buffoons. They actually made her feel smart, like, no, this is not the right time to cash in. Nia Jax is in there. I'm not going to risk this. Let me walk away laughing my ass off. That to me made her look cunning, it made her look smart, and it made her look maniacal and diabolical. Again, they are doing all of the right things with Naomi right now. They're still not home free. They can screw this up. Absolutely they can. But all I'm saying is that they're making all of the right steps forward. WrestleMania 42, Night 2 main event. Inject this this straight into my veins. I won't lie, they already sold me on this for WrestleMania 41 in the promo right before the Royal Rumble between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. This is the match that I wanted. This is the match that they sold me on. So if it means WrestleMania 42, I'm down for it. Like, to me, that is such an awesome on-paper match and absolutely would be the night 2 main event. Like they said in their conversation here, we can't be kept away from each other forever. Eventually, these paths have to cross, and WrestleMania 42 night 2, perfect place. Alexa winning was the right choice. I hope she makes it all the way. She's the only person who had an interaction with a champion, so it makes sense for her to win Queen of the Ring. It would be a nice surprise if they were to go with Alexa Bliss, primarily because I think everyone just assumes that they're just going to go with the safe option and go with Jade Cargill winning the Queen of the Ring. So going with Alexa Bliss, that is a change of pace, something I wouldn't expect. And to be fair, at the very least, like you mentioned here, she's been having those interactions with Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany Stratton versus Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, that's a match I absolutely want to see. Cody versus Orton is my all-time wrestling dream match / feud, so I can say with confidence that I do not want this match at King of the Ring. This is a feud that should last for months with a heel turn by Randy to start it. Don't blow their first singles match like this. Wait until Cody beats Cena. I get where you're coming from, but I actually don't mind the idea of their feud starting off the back of Randy Orton losing a King of the Ring again, this time to Cody Rhodes. That promo from Randy showed us that this guy is willing to go through anybody, including his best buddy Cody Rhodes, to be the 15-time WWE champion. And if Cody Rhodes not only just gets in his way, but actually stops him from that opportunity at King of the Ring, that could be a logical catalyst for an eventual Randy Orton heel turn that can then give us what you're asking for, a feud that lasts several months. It just needs to start somewhere, and King of the Ring might actually be the perfect place for it. I don't care who wins, as long as Jay doesn't. I'm not a Jey Uso hater, but if he wins, it will be the same as when he lost at Saturday night's main event and then the next week won the Royal Rumble. I don't get why they put Jey Uso in this situation. I don't know why they did question marks. Like, all it did was create an expectation of it being a return, all for it to just be the guy that just lost the world championship. Lazy. That is just lazy. Honestly, they should have just straight up said, hey, whoever loses between Jay and Gunther, you're the mystery opponent, so that we don't set ourselves up for disappointment like we do time and time again when WWE announces a mystery opponent. It's always somebody lame. And I don't want to see Jey Uso win this. He already won the Royal Rumble to get a world championship opportunity at WrestleMania against Gunther. Do you really want him to win the King of the Ring to get a world championship opportunity to go up against Gunther? So Jay Gunther in the 2 biggest shows of the year within 5 months of one another? I'm good. WWE is starting to ruin returns, even with the minor ones. Asuka, Randy, Charlotte are some that come to mind. Imagine the pop that this man would have gotten if they did not spoil his return. This is a thing of modern day wrestling. WWE just loves spoiling returns on episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown as opposed to garnering that big pop. It's like they're almost like desperate, trying to get any ounce of extra viewership bumps that they can by announcing names like Randy Orton ahead of time. But you're right. Had Randy Orton been a question mark and had his music hit, oh my God, that would have been a legendary pop. But no, it was still a great pop because it's Randy freaking Orton, but they could have massaged it to being a bigger, better moment for sure. It's so good to finally see SmackDown being consistently worth the time that we spend watching it. The hours kind of flew by on this one. Hopefully they can keep this up now that SmackDown will be 3 hours for longer than we originally thought. Yeah, for those that aren't keeping up with the news, SmackDown was supposed to go back to 2 hours at the start of July. It's staying to 3 hours at the very least now until September, as far as we know. But you're right, SmackDown just feels better, and the solution was always there. It was always simple. Just having your main eventers on the show, having Cody Rhodes on the show makes your main event segments feel a lot more special. Having Cena there makes things feel more special. Now that you have Randy Orton in the mix, CM Punk is in the conversation. All you needed was main eventers on SmackDown because for a really long time, you had to have the women's division and the United States Championship division moonlight as the main event attraction of Friday Night SmackDown, and that could only last for so long. R-Truth / Ron Killing's new cut is really good. Was anybody else concerned when he cut his dreadlocks off that he maybe like butchered it way too much and there was no salvaging that haircut? Thank God, because it looks fixed. His barber definitely went to town and made that man look good. She is amazing. It's a shame that she has to job every week wrestling in a suit. When they let Isla go, she should have gotten a singles push. Instead, she was inserted into a tag team division again. I feel like it was rock and a hard place. I feel like the situation was either this or get released, and I would prefer this this because at the very least, this gives her an opportunity to actually showcase how good she is, because Alba Fire is an excellent in-ring performer. You say that they should have pushed her. I don't think that they would have. I genuinely don't think that they would have ever given her an opportunity in the singles division. At the very least, in this role, she can showcase to the world how great of an in-ring performer she is, that maybe beyond this, she might get that singles push. Because as a member of the Unholy Union, they were getting no screen time at all for her to be able to showcase her in-ring work. At the very least here, she can. All right, folks, thank you so very much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.